local, national, and global levels is enriching national and multilateral processes and institutions. So, for the very first webinar, we have young people from different corners of our country who will be talking about climate activism and environmental advocacy. So, here is a panel for discussion, and I would like to introduce you to Soham, who is an environmental activist and enthusiast reader, and he would like to live in a world where nations have adopted green economies. Next, we have Avantika, who's a nature lover and wishes to see a world where we learn to live with nature and protect it. Next, we have Vidwansh, a young climate activist who wishes to live in a sustainable place where people have a radical approach towards geopolitical dynamics. Last but not the least, we have Tessie, a climate and social justice activist who is currently living in Ireland. You can find her eating, hugging trees, or dancing usually. So, welcome, guys. So, let's start. As we all know, that environmental advocacy has been on an increase lately, and for the people who are not aware of this term, environmental advocacy is presenting information on nature and environmental issues that encourages its audience to adopt more environmental sensitive attitude. So if environmental advocacy is on an increase, and we've seen that in 20th and 21st century, all the environment movements have been very successful. So let's start with how environmental advocacy lays the foundation of any environmental movement. So yeah, Soham, would you mind answering it?
Yeah, so as you said, environmental advocacy is presenting information on nature and environmental issues. So basically, it's information. So that is the major source every single movement uses in their, generation. Like now, for example, Fridays for Future. We say that climate change is happening, but on what basis we say climate change is happening? We have graphs, we have data, we have statistics. So all of that information we have for last like 10 years, 20, 100 years also. So that information is very crucial while creating a movement like this. So, for example, let's take another example of campaigns. Like we did one campaign on habitat loss. So, how did we know that the habitats in Rajasthan or habitats in uh, Chhattisgarh are in danger? Because we saw the data
Right.
related to all of that, right? And on campaigns also, we do give some estimates on how much waste will be created, how much waste is dumped in the landfills. So all of this data is the most important information, and that information is the base of every single movement. Like the information could be about media also, like how many followers do we have, and how many people respond to our challenges. That is also a part of information. So this information is very important to understand. Even while having a climate strike on streets, we need information on where most people lie, and where most people can respond to our climate strikes, and where we can have bigger we can make our sound clear, and we can present our ideas to more people. So that also gives us a little more detailed idea of how information is crucial in our campaigns and movements.
Right. Avantika, what is your take on this question?
Well, I think so. For every campaign or for everything, people should know what climate change is first. They have to know how it is affected. And many people tend to ignore it, but then showing them that it is possible, showing them the statistics, the graph that happened for 100 years. They can even ask their grandparents how they used to live their lives. So if it presenting them with this information is important, or else our voices will not increase, our support will not increase unless people believe that climate change exists.
Okay, when we talk about climate change, like that people don't believe in climate change, right? So, but we've seen that environmental advocacy plays a big role in all the movements, right? But when we present them with facts and still don't show a proper implementation, so do you still think that environmental advocacy really plays a big role in our journey to get climate justice? Then, with Vince, can you?
Yeah, uh, it actually does play a big role in encouraging people to take action. But usually, the problem with environmental advocacy is that the facts that we present to the people, they are not based on the near future or the thing that is going to take place in the next 1 or 2 years, so that people can get worried. Because until and unless people have the fear that, oh no, that my life is at stake, my family's life is at stake, and
Right.
we are going to face problems in the future, because we present them facts like that. If we don't act in the time of 50 years, then earth is in a great risk. But if we present them facts like, if we don't act in 1 or 2 years, this is going to happen, this is going to take place, and natural calamities like floods and forest fires are going to become natural. So, yeah.
Okay, but I have a point to raise. Like you said that we should present them with facts which are like uh, of 1 or 2 years, right, from here. But don't you think that we cannot be pretty sure about that what will happen in the next 1 or 2 years? We are just having predictions of 50 years. So how do you think that presenting with predictions and not a proper fact will help people believe that climate change is real? Tessie, can
Because
you take that?
actually this whole idea of climate change is big based on facts, because we have not seen the complete process of how it will affect us, and we still don't know what are going to be the consequences in the future. We only have the predictions that, yeah, this is going to happen, and we may face mass extinction, and even it is showing some pretty small consequences right now. So
Right.
if we just present them with facts, at least they would have some encouragement in their heart. Yeah, I need to act, otherwise I may face this problem in the next 1 or 2 years. I may face, because there is a high probability that other problems may also arise rather than the ones that we have told them.
Right.
Uh,
Tessie, what do you say?
Yeah, I would actually argue that this is not a problem of the future. It's something that's happening now. It's like when we're presenting facts about something that may happen, we can simply show them stuff that is happening. Like, just take India as an example. Like, what is happening right now in India is not just a coincidence. It's not just something that happens out of nowhere. It's a result of climate change. So I think for us, sometimes, like Vidwan was saying, that like the information that we've been presented by scientists, it's really hard to understand. It's telling us what's going to happen in 20 years, but that's not enough for us to actually, especially as humans, because psychologically we don't deal with the trauma we're going to face in the next 20 years. We deal with the trauma we're going to face tomorrow. So I think showing the fact that climate change is not an issue of like 40 years really can help our movement. I think that's something young people have a huge play in, because I think we kind of speak out. We're like, this is not going to happen in 20 years. It's happening now. It happened yesterday and it will happen today. So I would personally argue that, like, when presenting facts, we can show what's happening today, because that is climate change and it will continue to happen. So that can give us a push that it's not just predictions, it's happened before and it will get worse.
Right. Anyone else who wants to speak on
Yeah,
this?
the thing that Tessie told is totally right. But actually, the problem with people is, until and unless they themselves don't face the problem, they think like,
Right.
no, I don't need to act because I'm not facing the problem right now. But if we show them, yeah, in your region, it may happen, these floods, droughts, and all will happen, then they might get worried and start acting. Because as of now, we see natural calamities taking place in coastal regions, like we saw the cyclone Nisarga and hitting the Mumbai. But the people in other parts of India, they thought like, no, we are not facing the problem. So how can we play a role to protect the environment and mitigate climate change? So if we tell them, yeah, this may happen with you as well, it may not be flood, it may be a drought or something like that, which may take you to leave out your homes and put you in a very difficult situation, which is very hard to escape, and your life will be at risk due to it. So yeah.
Right. So you say that presenting facts which the public can really relate to and they feel that climate is changing is really important. Right. So, like, okay, so how can one get involved in advocacy on climate change? So, like, if you need facts to present it to the public, how can one get involved, or how can one be authentic in presenting facts while talking about climate change? Avantika? Would you like?
Well, one can they can read about it. They can know about they can read about case studies of different regions, or they can listen to the news, or they can read books about environment, and they can first learn themselves, and they can slowly start doing sustainable living or changing their lifestyles a little, because this whole the sustainable lifestyle is a journey, so you can't just hit it at one point. You have to like keep on practicing again and again, because leaving something for all these years is a hard thing. So first I would say is that if you want to create change, if you want to if you want climate justice, first you need to know what it is, because many people come forward with no idea, and many people also believe that climate change will just solve on its own, that it'll just heal on its own after a few years, but they have to get these myths and everything straight before they enter. So I think, yeah.
Yeah. So,
I think we can get people involved in such movements like Fridays for Future, Extinction Rebellion. That is the very important thing which you can do, because right now we all are sitting in our homes due to pandemic. I don't know about other people, but so what they can do in this pandemic, that we can research for such similar topics, like we did campaign on habitat loss, so they can research on smaller topics like that. They can research on various topics actually, because we have listed a we have listed as very small research topics also, so they can research on those topics, like what are we are doing right now. We are having this live session, we are explaining these things. So
yeah.
this is the part of advocacy too, I think. But we are not presenting any data, so I would not 100% put it in advocacy, but I think this is really important for the nature also. Like we are making awareness, we are creating awareness, and we are spreading the news. Also spreading different posts from such organizations and movements is very important. You can share these posts to your friends, your family. You can show your story, our stories, to their uh, friends, and you can share these links of live webinars also. You can attend different webinars, like I attended one on circular economy and how does recycling and everything works. So not just these movements, but you can attend different webinars, and of course, as Avantika said, reading books. So many things you can do, and if you don't like reading, you can watch movies too. There are a lot of movies on Netflix and everything. You
Yeah.
can watch those movies also. So I think there are many things which you can do. Like people think when you have to do something for nature, you just have to go on, uh, pick up, drive, or plant a tree, and that's it. But there are many things which people can do.
Tessie?
Yeah, I think there's so many resources out there. It's just going out there and finding it. And I know that, like, from my experience being in the movement, I've learned a lot from my fellow activists. Just talking to them and being like, oh, I'm kind of interested in this topic. Can you help me reach out? And I think that's something quite powerful about the youth movement, is that we're so interconnected that, like, asking each other questions, that's how I feel we would learn from each other. I think one of the great resource that I'm actually working with is this organization called Climate Science, and they basically produce information about the climate crisis that is actually easy to understand, and they're actually translating it into different languages like Hindi, English, Spanish, and different languages. So I think genuinely looking there and finding the resources, that's the best step you can do to get involved, because if you're not aware yourself, then you won't be able to fight for the best you can. So I think that's really important.
Right. And also environmental advocacy kind of, sees people as agents of change in their own communities, because it works at a community level and identifies the problems which are deeply rooted within the community. And, then it also helps to generate more resources for developmental work, I guess. And also it can change power structures or political systems with an ease. And okay, so like you all are very young climate activists, and you like what according to you is climate activism, and how has this identity of a climate activist impacted you all your life? With bunch.
Yeah, so actually, I see climate activism as something that uh, that includes social change, and the political change, and as well as the protecting environment or conserving it. And basically, if we look at climate change, so we relate it to environment a lot. So the way that people see it is as planting trees and conserving trees, and that's it. But when we tell them about we do this also, we prevent the governments from doing wrong things that may harm the environment in the future. And recently we look at the EIA draft. So when we were even protesting against it, so many people were like, what will happen if you protest? It is going to do nothing because you are not planting trees. The best solution is to plant trees. But they don't understand that uh, not only planting trees, but the trees that are going to die because of that, what about them? They are like they are an ecosystem in their own, and we are destroying them. By we I mean the basically the governments, because they need to boost their economy, but they don't look at the fact that they also have to follow sustainable ways in which they can boost their economies, but they don't do so. And uh, so climate activism is basically including all these three: social change, social change, political change, and environment conservation as well.
Right. Avantika?
Well, I think adding to Vidvansh, it's also an individual level. Your own changes in your lifestyle also leads to activism, because every individual, if they change, it just contributes to something big, right? So just knowing about it, changing your ways of how consumerism plays a huge part, and how changing small things like converting your plastic products in home into something that can be used for longer years. Small things also leads up, it's also called activism, because you are also promoting and explaining others to do it. And and your social media or your platform expressing your views on others also a little activism too. So yeah.
Great. Tessie?
Yeah, I think Vidwansh and Avantika have said it perfectly, but something else I would add in is that it's the love and respect for our source of life and our people. Because like our world and our people are so interconnected. Like climate change not only affects our environment but also people. So I think as an activist, for me, climate activism has definitely been developing that love and respect for my source of life, as well as the empathy for the people around me. Like I'm quite privileged to be in the global north right now in a country that I'm not being affected by climate change every day, but that doesn't mean that I don't have to fight for the people that are being affected. So I think for me, adding on to Avantika and Vidwansh, it's love, respect, and empathy for the people of this world as well as the nature.
Right. Soham?
Yeah, and adding to Tessie, I would like to add one more word. Having a conscious mind for,
Right.
and and basically changing the view. We have to change the view of our lifestyle. We have to government has to change their economies. Basically changing many things is very crucial at this moment right now, because climate change, as we already have said, is going to affect everyone, but in a different manner. Like some of them are going to affect by flooding, some of them are going to experience droughts, and some of them are going to be migrated. So if we don't want that to happen, then government and of course us individuals have to change our lifestyle and the way to see things. So I think that is a
Right.
really important point.
For me, it's like I'm pretty politically opinionated. So what I feel is that we need political action more than anything else, because if you see that the people who are in power and who have the responsibility to make a change are pretty arrogant to what we are demanding. And what I believe is that we require a top to bottom change. Like top to bottom means exactly that you have people on the top who have powers to change structures and political dynamics to really work. What we are asking for is like climate justice and declaration of climate emergency. And then when people are obviously convinced by political leaders to a very large extent, I feel. So if they really try to make a change at a higher level, we will follow them. So I guess that's what pretty much is for me. And moving on, so when you started this journey of being a climate activist, you might have faced pretty much very so many criticisms, I guess. So how did you face them, Tessie?
I think definitely not being I'm still like a teenager, as being a woman as well, it's been kind of hard for me to get my voice heard, because sometimes I still get, people tell me, "Oh, you're like you don't know this, you're only 16, what do you know about politics?" And I think it's just that dismissal of that I don't know enough or I'm not good enough kind of thing. So I think I face that kind of dismissal a lot because of my gender as well as my age. And I think that's just because, we as youth, sometimes we're tokenized by our governments. They kind of tell us, oh, we're listening to the youth. They do this big press conference, they take a bunch of photos, and then afterwards, when you bring up these issues, they're like, oh, you don't know about it. And I think that has been something I've definitely experienced. I don't know about my other panelists, but like my gender and my age has definitely been something that has kind of stopped me in raising my voice to the level I can.
Right. Vidvansh?
Yeah, so actually, even I faced a lot of criticism when I started it, because in the starting, I was giving a lot of time doing all of this, and my parents were like, "You need to focus on your study because you should not lose your marks in the exam because of all this." So I kind of try to maintain the level of the time that I give to activism and studies as well, because uh, the typical Indian parents, they want their children to score good, and all of these extracurricular activities, as they call it, they don't think that they are absolutely necessary for their child, because at this age they want you to focus. But actually, what I think is that I can do it because I'm the one who is going to face the consequences in the future. So I need to act for that. And if even if I'm not studying, that doesn't matter, because what's the need of studying if the world is going to end, is a very
True.
famous line that Greta Thunberg also said in a speech. Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah, I have also faced the same criticism with Vansh has. I face it on daily basis. But fortunately, I do homeschooling, so I get a lot of time for studying also. Yeah, I mean that's the point. And second one is every day I wake up and I realize that after 50 years, my city is going to be underwater. The city level, the water level is going to rise. And what am I doing right now? Am I really giving enough time to the nature which has raised me for 15 years, and am I giving it enough time? So I think about that every day. I tell my parents, like, oh my god, you have to listen that this city is going to be underwater if we don't take any action right now. I know you want me to study and everything, and I will do that. I will give you great marks in typical Indian parenting, great marks. I will do that, all of that, but I have to spend time for the nature. And this is the most wonderful thing I am doing in my life at this age, because for me it is a really good thing I'm doing for the nature. It's not like this is an extracurricular activity, but I think the weight of this activity is even more than my studies.
right. Avantika?
Well, I didn't face any criticism, but I was asked a lot of questions, by my friends and everyone. Like, what's the use of, taking all these placards, going on roads? There's no use, all those words. And I was like, if you look at the history, this is what made changes. This is what actually created laws. This is what happened. This is what we fought wars. This is the reason that raising our voices is important, and that's what used to shut their mouth. So yeah, because when it comes to my family, they are supportive, because they have also done a little bit of activism in their lives too. So I think I get that from them. Yeah.
Okay, guys, before we proceed, just to make one thing very clear for our viewers, we'll take your questions at the end, like at the very end when our discussion is over. So let's proceed. You all have been associated with one of the other organizations lately, and it's been a long time, and you're proceeding with your journeys and your new experiences. What really keeps you motivated to be a part of this movement? Yeah. So.
Okay, so as I said earlier, my city is going to be underwater in 50 years, and that's the thing which keeps the fire inside me blowing every day. And also, in Fridays for Future, we have a lot of fun. That's the thing I really love. We have we have weekly meetings and party calls and a climate cafe thing. So that is also a really good thing for me. We do very much fun, and I also like to read. So whenever I'm bored, I take a book, read it to environment. I have a whole shelf of those books. So I take one book from that and just start reading it. So yeah, that just keeps me really motivated. Even also I watch motivating videos and everything. But yeah.
Avantika?
For me, I mean, every single day actually. Like, a few weeks ago there was a bomb, the whole blast that happened in Lebanon, and then a few days ago you see that oil spill that's happening. I mean, every single day it's giving you a reason to fight more and anything. So, and also to keep me forward, I'm obviously getting all these videos and articles from all my friends, in FFF India. They'll be sharing every single day, all the good news messages, and then yeah, that's what keeps us going, right? That's it. Yeah.
Essie?
Yeah, I think like Soham and Avantika was saying, I think it's the fact that we have a home that's waiting for us to fight. Like we don't know whether it's going to survive or not. And I think like being not in India, I miss India a lot, and I see all these issues and all climate change happening. And I it hurts because I'm not there to physically protest. So I think definitely my country being at stake is definitely something that inspires me. But also I think Ireland is a very green country. I don't think you can go anywhere in Ireland without just seeing fresh green grass and trees. I think just smelling that fresh air and seeing that nature is what inspires me, because I know I can't lose this. I cannot lose, the world I live in without a fight. So I think that would just be what I'd add on to what my panelists said.
Right. I have a question for you, Tessie. Like you said that people in India are protesting against few things, such as many policies of the government, right? So, how impactful are these things, how impactful are these protests actually? Like, if you just want to do this,
So do you mean in relevance to India or outside of India?
or wherever, like generally.
Yeah, I think like I'm not too sure about the stats, but like I do know that there have been amazing results of protesting. I know that I think it was the Hablangoli Railway, if I'm correct, that got put down because of the protesting. Project in Kerala, the Adarvali, where they were going to make a dam, that got taken
Right.
down because of protesting. So I think it definitely does have power. Like here in Ireland, we protested, we declared a climate emergency. We were the second country to do so. So I would definitely say it does have an impact, but that doesn't mean we stop. We have to keep going. The fight is not over. It's a continuous fight. We win a few battles, we lose a few, but we still have a war to win. So that'd be what I'd say.
Right. Great. Vidvansh, what is your take on this?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
What is your take on what keeps you motivated to be in this movement?
Yeah, so actually, first of all, the team itself. Once you join any movement, I'm sure that you will stick to it at least for 6 months or so, because when you meet like-minded people who are also motivated to the same work that you are doing, where you will feel like yes, you also want to work with them for a longer time, and then the tasks that you do, the campaigns that you carry on, that you get a lot of information too when you are doing anything like this, because when you are working with anyone, it is sure that everyone is not going to have the same opinion, and that everyone is also going to have the same knowledge. But when you just work like this, it feels like as if you are learning many things which are new to you, but still you are able to grasp them because they are being taught to you practically, which the schools fail to do. Actually, what I feel is that the environmental education that this activism gives me is far more than any school of India can do.
Right. So, yeah, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, about climate strike, how powerful are they? So to be honest, I have not been in a part of any strike because I joined in late April. So and in that, due to pandemic and everything, but we did online strikes and digital strikes. And the success of the digital strike, I would say the 87,000 mails to the environmental ministry. That is the success of those digital strikes. Like we demanded the government to update and withdraw the EIA 2020 draft. So only protesting on the streets is as helpful as I think digital strikes. So both of these things are very helpful in order to keep the movement alive.
Right. I have a question to you guys. Like you said that you've been part of this journey for a long time now. How has it really changed you when you were not a part of it, and now when you see you look back in time, and what changes have you observed in yourself? Avantika.
Uh, well, before I used to like get I was obviously blindsided that climate change existed. Before I would see the news, but I wouldn't be so conscious ki, oh my god. But now since I've joined FFF India, I'm knowing every single side of each problem and like how this would contribute in the future. Because one of my friend told me that, for now you are facing something, the destruction that happened already.
Right.
You are seeking justice for something that's already done. Now it's under our hands to make sure that the destruction doesn't continue in the future, because the every single thing that every single decision that we take will determine if we want the destruction to continue in the future or not. So yeah, these are the things that I learned from every single one. I'm pretty sure it's going to change a lot in the future too. Yeah.
Right. Tessie, what do you say?
Yeah, I think, like Avantika, I was unfortunately ignorant to how impactful my actions are. And I think now something has really changed in me is that I take the extra effort to be more sustainable, to be more or less waste. And I make sure that people around me are like able to take that extra step. I think that has been something that has really changed me. It's just before I used to advocate, I used to protest, but I didn't realize how impactful I could start at home. So I think that has been one of the amazing gifts this movement has given me, is the power of doing something as an individual action and seeing how much less waste, how much more sustainable it can be. So that would be something that's changed for me.
Right. Vidvansh?
Yeah, so actually, you get a lot of information, as I said earlier, that when you work like this, and also the education that you're getting, you get motivated with the people that you're working with, because right, when earlier, when I joined FFF, before joining it, I knew about this air pollution, water pollution, and all. I was thinking, yeah, it is bad, and we should stop that. But I did not act for it. Like, I didn't even bring personal changes in my lifestyle. And but as soon as I joined FFF, I just realized how bad can climate change and global warming can be. And after that, when I saw like people who are doing some great things at their own personal level, like composting and all, I also started doing it. I thought that how can I be more sustainable? Like, carrying your own cloth back to the market helps a lot. And earlier I knew about it, but I was not acting. So this is what the movement has done to me. I am getting motivated, but I'm not just seeing the facts that you can help like this and all. I am even getting motivated to pursue them in my lifestyle as well.
Right. Suham?
I guess FFF changed my view of living. So like whenever I see something or buy something, a product or an item, I think, okay, can I refuse that item? Is it really harmful for nature? Is it going to be recycled? Is it going to be filled in? Where is it going to go? Basically, is it going to go in oceans or landfills? So basically, it changed the direction how I look at every single item now. So how I can live sustainable lifestyle. Just everyone added how we can live sustainable lifestyle and with various tricks and everything. So it changed me also. And then before joining FFF, I used to believe like government is doing many things. Like for example, Maharashtra government once launched a scheme called Ekach Lakshya 5 Koti Vriksha. So it is basically planting 5 crore trees. So I was
Right.
like, wow, the government is cooperating so much and they are helping the environment so much. But when I joined FFF, I realized that, oh my God, it is not happening at all. Government is not paying attention at all. And, all of these ideas are very really fake and bogus. So we have to do something about it. Yeah. And that's
Right.
how I changed my view.
Sure. So when we talk about, we being not so aware of the things around us, and now as an activist, we are pretty much aware of what is going on. Our awareness is something like, it's upon our actions also. Like if we are aware, we need to act. But how do you convince people? How do you convince your batchmates or someone who is aware of the things but is not ready to act? So how do you guys go about it? Tessie?
Yeah, I think it's just, highlighting the fact that your change does matter, because I know that there's so many projects where people, like young people, one person decided they were going to make a change, and that just had such a ripple effect. Like you emailing your local cafe or your local restaurant, asking them to go plastic free does make a difference. That's one shop less that uses plastic. So I think I would go with the approach of, showing them that because you want to take action, it does make a difference. It's not just one more drop in the ocean, it's one more drop in the big bottle of change. It's the big ocean of change. So that would be the approach I would take.
Right. Soham?
I would consider doing everything in front of them. Like, I will give an example. I used to go to, there is a place in Mumbai called Dadar where I used to go for my classes every day, literally every day. And I used to take bus. But then I discovered that it is really short distance and I can just go there by leaving my house 15 minutes early by walking. So I used to go there with my friend. I used to take bus with him. So I told him that I'm going to go there by walking, by with cycle or something. But he didn't agree with me. Like, why are you doing this? Why do you want to waste 15 minutes doing that? So then I realized that how this pollution is affecting us, and I told him this and everything, that pollution is a very big problem and everything. And I started doing it by myself. I used to go alone every day, and then after a few days, he joined me too. So I think doing everything with your friends and everything in front of them is very important. Like if you suggest them, let us go to some cafe and eat burger and everything, they are not going to be that you are an activist. But if you say
Right.
that let us get to our home and eat healthy food, let us cook it ourselves, then they will start hanging with you and they will believe in climate change and everything. So
Right.
you don't have to give them big statistical data and everything, but showing them of small things and showing them how you can change your lifestyle by changing some small things, that is important, I guess.
Right. With I'd like to ask you another question. Like in this year 2020, we've seen so much happening around us, so many natural calamities happening. How, what impact will it create on people who really don't know that climate change is happening? How will it impact them? And, how can we use this opportunity to unite everyone together?
Yeah, so my take on this is that when people see these kind of news that some area is getting affected due to some natural calamities or even some by non-cooperation of someone or something, like we saw the blowout in Bhagjan blowout in Assam. That was a very tragic moment, but very less people know about it, and the social media and the media itself is the reason. So the one thing that we can do to make encourage people to join or to act is that showing them the consequences, as I said earlier, that this can happen to you as well, and making them understand the thing that no, this is not related to a specific region or something. This is related to the whole earth, whole country, even your state and your city is in that. So telling them that it can affect you in a very bad way that you can't even imagine. And fear also plays a very big role in uniting people, because when people have the fear that, oh, my life is at stake or my family's life is at stake, they feel the need to act, they get worried. But if we tell them like, no, these people are getting affected, you work for them. No, this is not a human nature that people are going to act for someone else and they don't get any profit from it. So that is the way that we can reach out to people on the topic of climate change and natural calamities that are the consequences of climate change.
Okay, Avantika, I have a question for you. Like Soham, sorry, Vidvansh told us about social media and how is it helpful in bringing people together, uniting them for the same cause, right? Can you tell me that how has is virtual action, which is like action on social media platforms and other things, has benefited more from like real actions like protesting or PILs and all?
First thing is that everyone uses social media every single day. That is the biggest benefit that we have. And on that, I think you can encourage people by giving them, tasks or challenges. Because I did it. I asked one of my friend to do this, convert this, don't use plastic for like 20 days. Just see what happens. Because there's no harm for you, nor me, nor anyone. Just see. And that changed, asking people to do something for like few days, coming up with ideas or challenges for them. And also giving out accurate information is also important, because that's what we are all doing every single day. Virtually hanging out, all these activities, I think this would be a biggest plus point for us, because we have so many creative people in our group who can come up with all these ideas to engage people, right? So yeah, and this is also one of the thing, us doing this webinar also is engagement to many people that are listening to us. So yeah, I think that is what is a huge thing. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Like we can talk about this thing in a different perspective. Like we as humans, after the agriculture revolution, the scientific revolution, and various other revolutions, we've become smarter, right? And we've become more efficient in many ways, and we've made everything, like so we ourselves have gotten us into this mess. So how do you react to this thing when you see that we as humans have created this mess, and now we only want to get out of it? So, like, what is your take on this, Suhab?
So whatever has been done, that has been done. We cannot undo it or redo it. So that is the golden statement. We cannot redo anything. But what we can do, that we can change it. At least we can replace it. We can have green economies. We can change our lifestyle. So instead of crying over things which have happened already, we can move on and think how we can save Earth, even if we have very few years left. But once again, the government is supposed to play a major role in this. Right now they
Right.
are not doing it, but they are supposed to play a role. And then there is our role, independent people, actually people themselves. So what people can do and what I can do, I think that is.
Right. Cassie, tell me this thing. After so many years of evolution, we have, created this mess. So, what do you think? Do we need to evolve in any other way to undo what we've done or replace anything? Do we need to act like a bit sensitively or a bit smarter in any other way?
Yeah, I think adaptation is one of the biggest things we can do right now, because I think
Right.
waiting for us to evolve will take too many years. We don't have that time.
Right.
So I think adapting, because obviously the acts of climate change have been done. There is no way to scientifically stop climate change anymore. What we can do is mitigate it and adapt to it. So I think realizing that we need to realize and accept that this current system we're in is broken. It's broken, it's not going to work. It caused this crisis and the corona crisis. So I think adaptation, making sure that our communities are adapted to the future effects of climate change to reduce their vulnerability, is the only way we can evolve to change this crisis. Because, like Soham said, the work of climate change is done. It's been caused, it's happening. We need to make sure that we protect our people and our land against it.
Yeah, Avantika, as a young climate activist, what do you think? What kind of movement do we need right now, like in the current situation? As in, what would you expect from the society, or what changes will you introduce in the society to make this movement what it's worth for and what we are actually working for? What do you suggest?
Well, in the current situation, where using the digital platforms is the huge thing, because meeting is not an option right now. And like I said before, coming up with ideas is most important. Engaging people to do things is a huge plus point, because you know. Believe it or not, sustainable life and all is like a trendy topic right now. Many people use it as a trend. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So using that as a plus point, and using all these webinars, and then using our digital platform to engage our friends into doing something is a huge thing. And I think, yeah, uh, right now in the pandemic, everyone has seen how it's affecting us. You see what's happening in Assam and Bihar. You can tell, like, what, that can happen in our state too. Maybe we are not going to have floods in Telangana, but we might have something else. We have water problems. Any building can collapse. We have drainage system problems. All these things, trying to change people's minds digitally. I think this is the only way right now.
Right. Vidvansh, what is your take?
Yes, so actually, as Avantika said, the social media platforms are a very good resource to spread knowledge about climate change and encourage people to join the movement, any movement, whether it be Extinction Rebellion or Fridays for Future, anything, but at least they should contribute, or not even joining a movement, at least they should bring changes in their personal lifestyle as well. Because right now when we see people posting something on the social media, it's like about their daily lives, something. If we encourage people to do something in their daily life and post that as well, it can create a chain in which everyone is involved and motivated by each other in creating new ideas and new changes in their lifestyles, which can lead to big change and ultimately to mitigating climate change.
Right. Soham?
Yeah, I would like to add something related to campaigns. How campaigns can help us. So we do campaigns on monthly basis. Like there is a coal campaign lined up, and there's one intersection ready. So our campaigns are how they are purposeful. Basically, they have a definite purpose, and then they are well defined, and they have a defined structure, and also a time limit also, and they're aimed at large audience. So anyone from starting from age of 16 to age of 60, anyone can participate in those campaigns, and they involve certain set of community actions or digital actions, for example Instagram stories or tweet storms or bingo games, etc. So getting your workers, neighbors, friends, family, or even local government involved in these campaigns, it is very important, and it is easier and more effective to spread environmental awareness through public education also, and we do that by our campaigns and starting a local project. If you collaborate with local chapters also, promoting environmental awareness is a very crucial part in our campaigns, I would say.
Right. Just to inform to our viewers, if you have any questions, please drop in the chat. We are just about to end our discussion after a few more questions. So if you have any questions, just put it in the chat. I've got one question from one of the people saying that what are the websites that you recommend for children to follow climate change, science, and conservation related research? Like anyone can answer. Who wants to go?
I would say downtoearth.org, and what else is there?
Vidvansh?
Yeah, so actually, I saw one of these websites. I don't remember the name clearly, but as Stacy said, there are some websites which are offering even crash courses. So
Right.
you can go through them, and then you will have a certain knowledge about climate change and how it is going to affect us. And it is a crash course. Like you can just do it in 1 hour or so and read the statistics, data, information, whatever. I'll surely put the link in the chat when I find it.
Right. We have one more question. What are your expectations from Fridays for Future India campaigns in the near future? Avantika?
Well, I think I have a lots of expectations because we have so many young people in us, and with creative ideas, we are coming up with ideas every single day. And also when we come up, we actually do it too. We make a plan, we strike, and if you are, and even recently EIA, FF India have had a huge part in it. We could persuade people to send mails. So I think, yeah, we have a lot of scope.
Right. Tessie, do you really think if climate education is included in our curriculum, it could help youth with more awareness and action on climate crisis? And can you please explain what is climate science to our
Yeah,
viewers?
am I audible? Because I'm on the
Yeah,
road right now.
yeah, you're audible.
Okay, perfect. So I think, we why do we go to school? We go to school to learn, to be provided with the tools to go and excel in the future. And I think that if we don't have proper climate education and we're on our way to a climate crisis or even on a climate crisis, I think that's completely crazy. And climate
Okay, I guess she's having a connection issue. We can whenever she's back, we can take up with her later. Okay, the last question for you all is, with so much emphasis on youth movements, various organizations are coming up now. So, how do you think that the youth can make an impact, even if they don't wish to be a part of any of the movements or the organizations? On an individual level, how can they create an impact? So,
Personally, I would suggest living a sustainable lifestyle is one of the most important things. Second one is, you can, if you don't want to be a part of a movement, but you can share the stuff which is on their Insta page and Twitter page, everything. So we share, data stuff and campaign related stuff every day on our Instagram post. So you can share that data with your friends and family members. That is a very important thing which you can do. You can attend different webinars. We suggest various webinars also. You can attend those webinars. You can read up. You can share the information with us. If you want to collaborate, we can give you a stage to perform that information. Yes.
yeah,
and and
okay,
also I would like to say one more thing, that uh, we just created one new research team for gaming. Okay, so the game developers, we have some friends from Zashi who are developing games for environmental activism. And so there is actually a lot of scope. If you think that climate Fridays for Future is only limited for strikes and Instagram posts, that is not it. Okay, there is a lot of things which are going on our in our research team and everything, and we do small research also. So before, if you want more information, you can ask us how you can collaborate with us. If you have minimum time, like 1 hour per week, you can also help us with doing some small research. So
right.
yeah.
With Vansh?
Yeah, so if you don't want to join a movement, actually, even I think it's not necessary if you don't want to. Bring at least personal changes, changes in your personal lifestyle, which can like contribute to on a big scale.
Right.
Like even spread the word. You can follow some pages on Instagram like Fridays for Future, Extinction Rebellion, Greenpeace, which share the information about climate change, environment, and related things. Even we started this Vocal for Local campaign, which is off now, but we started it so people can spread the information. And this Vocal for Local campaign was also part of the campaign that Modi ji launched, Vocal for Local. So, like people don't always need to be a part of movement for that. They can contribute by spreading the word and bringing changes in their personal lifestyle, and at least telling their friends about it, educating someone, at least a child who can act as an asset for the future.
Right.
Yeah.
Avantika, like, can you answer this? That how to make people realize about the reality, who are still in hope for new technology or for mitigation in this profit-driven system? Like, they're still hoping for something in materialistic development, or which is not really useful for our environment. So, how to make them realize that this is not going to happen, or if even if it happens, it's going to be very destructive.
Yeah, so like I said, many people do believe that climate change will heal itself, but that is not the case here. Because if you have how to make people realize is that you have through your work, if you change, you can tell others that what, you can do it too. Change, showing them change is important. And development is on one side, but then development in the cost of environment is wrong.
Right.
Because you can development is not a wrong, but you are destroying something that is what we breathe on. And that is the wrong thing. So that we have to make people realize by if they are ready to come forward to learn, if they are ready to ask questions, if they're ready to question us, counter us, which is not a wrong thing, because people should ask questions. Then I think we are ready to answer, we are ready to show change, we are ready to tell them that small changes in your lifetime will lead to bigger impacts. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so as we're running out of time, it was great with you guys discussing on these topics. And I would just like to conclude by saying that we as a youth are not just a bunch of immature teenagers trying to get something which is pretty illogical or not really practical. We as a youth are seeing what is happening around us and are really concerned. And it is disappointing that you as adults who have experience of life, who are pretty mature than us, don't really acknowledge the fact that the climate is changing and we need to take actions. And it would be great if we are united together and make this place better, make this world a better place to live. Thank you so much, guys. I'll just end this thing with a good note. Thank you all for being a part of this discussion. It was a pleasure having you here, and I would also like to thank all our viewers who were with us in this discussion. We're also having one more webinar at 7 p.m. about youth and the Indian education system. And stay tuned for further updates. And don't forget to follow Fridays for Future on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is fridaysforfuture.india. On Facebook, we are from Fridays for 4, which as in a numeral 4, India. And on Twitter, we are FFF India. So we'll take a leave, guys. It was great.